so as to show there was no tampering with the evidence, which is critical in crimes like the ones that allegedly were committed in the alleged murders of Preddy and Good. That kind of chain of custody, the preservation of the integrity of the evidence, is critical to any prosecution or conviction. And I'm really concerned that the failure to provide this evidence or to attest to chain of custody, in effect, amounts to a cover-up.
You know, a lot of Minnesotans have used that word, Senator, and I hope that we can, my biggest hope is we can move on from here. I think everybody who's ever done police investigation, crime investigation, knows that there is a state interest and a federal interest. That's why collaboration is the norm. And I think that most people know that that information has got to be shared with everybody who has an interest in establishing truth in public safety. The fact that we haven't been doing it in this situation, I'm hoping that with the help of this committee, with the help of Mr. Holman perhaps, that we're going to get into a better place. But so far, we've been denied. And it's deeply disappointing because, as you know, when anytime somebody is killed in your state, I mean, you, along its distinguished career in Connecticut, you know that that leaves a massive hole in community, and to simply not investigate it, say there's nothing to see here. We've heard from the second most important official at DOJ that they're not going to investigate the Renee Good case, that they are not going to investigate at all. And I would hope that this committee would say, no, we do expect that when Minnesotans or anybody of any state is killed, particularly in connection with the officer-involved matter, that there will be an investigation. And it'll be fair, and it'll be thorough, and it'll be joint. And then whatever the results are what the results are. But the fact that they're not going to investigate, and local officials in large numbers have quit because of the conduct of the recent conduct of the DOJ, this is all deeply disturbing, and I hope we can turn the corner.
I appreciate the measured and insightful tone that you were bringing, and the message of hope. You've used that term a number of times. The people of Minnesota deserve hope that things will now change, and I hope that they will. I think the nation hopes that they will. But in the meantime, the failure to investigate the Good killing, and in fact, I believe that the investigation is focused on Renee Good's family.
That's right.
Insofar as there is any investigation, it's of her sister and possibly her family. I find absolutely abhorrent and incomprehensible. So I think there is a need for real reform in the Department of Homeland Security, which we are endeavoring to do, as you know, with common sense, restraints, and far-reaching overhaul of this agency that right now is out of control and needs to be reined in. But in the focus on this action in Minneapolis, I hope professionalism, such as you brought to this effort, will prevail. And again, my thanks to you and Mr. Schnell and Mr. Niska for being here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator Moreno.
Thank you. Mr. Niska, I'll start with you. Just a basic question, just to kind of level set. We can have the three of you just answer decently quickly. Do you think that people who are here in this country illegally, meaning they either entered illegally or overstayed a visa, should be deported? Yes, simple yes or no.
The rule of law, yes.
Mr. Ellison?
Do they have an asylum petition pending?
You get your microphone.
If they have a pending asylum petition, I think it should be heard. If they have some basis for their presence in the country, I think ordinary due process should take place.
Yeah, it's just from my perspective, simple. I'm not a big shot lawyer like you. Just a quick question. If you enter the country illegally or you overstay a visa, should you be deported?
My simple answer is, sir, it depends.
Okay, so if somebody breaks into your home, Should they be arrested for breaking and entering, or does it depend?
It's an entirely different scenario.
How's that?
Because immigration is essentially a civil, and the breaking into my home is a criminal matter.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So there's laws that should be enforced, so we shouldn't enforce civil violations?
We absolutely should enforce them.
But you just said that it's a civil matter, so it's different. So if somebody
you enforce
creates
civil matters.
So if somebody commits a civil infraction, it shouldn't be enforced?
It should be.
Okay, so they should be deported.
No, they should have due process that is associated with their petition. So,
Okay,
for example,
so the act of entering the country illegally, you think we should say, well, did you really do it or not do it? It's pretty obvious that they did, right?
well, I mean, it would depend on the facts of the situation, and then they might say,
I just gave you the facts. They
Right, but-
entered the country without permission.
but Senator, what if they had a good faith basis to say they would be persecuted in their home country and subjected to real oppression there? Under international law, there are provisions for them to make a case.
That's a phenomenal point. Mexico and Canada, do you consider those to be safe countries or no?
Generally, I do, but there are
Oh, no,
certain
generally you do?
Well, I mean, I would just say this.
You border Canada. Don't insult your neighbors to the north.
No, I love my neighbors to the
Okay,
north,
well, so
but
is it a generally safe country?
generally, yes.
So then
But-
somebody seeking asylum could certainly be safe in Canada and Mexico, no?
Now, so like if somebody, we do know that in Mexico, which is another country I truly admire and think is a wonderful country, but there have been cases of persecution, people who have legitimate
So people
fear.
aren't safe in Mexico? Refugees cannot be safe in Mexico?
Some might not be. And I think, and
So
what I'm saying,
maybe
Senator,
we shouldn't have a free trade agreement with them then.
I didn't say that, but what I would say, Senator, is that we should hear their petition. We
Gotcha.
should at least hear it out. We should say, is there a well-founded and legitimate fear of persecution in your home
That
country?
can't happen in Mexico?
Well, I think that she should just follow the international protocols that existed. And
It is, which is that you seek asylum in your nearest country that you are seeking asylum in. But it sounds to me that your answer is no. Mr. Snell?
Senator, if I were to answer yes or no, it would be misleading. And I think ultimately it does boil down to due process.
It actually is pretty staggering that the easiest question that I could possibly ask is confusing for the two of you. I mean, that's decently disgusting, and I'm going to tell you why from my perspective. I wasn't born in this country. My mom and dad had to follow the rules to bring me and my 6 siblings into the United States, and I find it disgusting that the two of you guys want to reward people who skip the line, pay drug cartel members to smuggle them across the border, are coached to say exactly the right words when they hit Border Patrol. And by the way, the people who do that, the people who are from my neck of the woods, from South and Latin America, get abused, get raped, get held at gunpoint because people like you say, oh, it's okay, maybe we'll allow them into the country, when we should have a very simple policy, which is you can't enter our country illegally and you can't overstay your visa. The fact that the two of you are top law enforcement people in your state and you can't simply say, hey, violating a civil or criminal offense is a problem is probably the origin of why we have these issues. Let's move on for something else. Mr. Ellison, as the Attorney General of the state of Ohio, I'm sorry, the state of Minnesota, you would never get elected in Ohio. Who's Victoria Harwell? Because you haven't said her name. I'm just curious who she is.
is there a question you'd like to ask me?
Yeah, who is she?
As I understand it, she's a very unfortunate, tragic victim of a crime.
Okay, and what have you done about it?
Well, in Minnesota, sir, I prosecute crimes that are.
What have you done for Victoria?
I'm telling you about my jurisdiction.
I'm just telling you what you've done for
No,
Victoria
I'm
Harwell.
telling you about my
No,
jurisdiction.
but I didn't ask you a question about your jurisdiction. If I
has
did,
to-
you could answer that one, but I haven't. So just tell me about Victoria Harwell. Just tell me what maybe the answer is nothing, which is fine. Just tell me what you've done for Victoria Harwell.
We have done everything that the law allows us to do.
Okay. And she's an American citizen, right?
I assume so, yes.
You haven't even bothered to look into who she is?
No, sir. What I'm telling you is that I don't know, what her nationality is. It doesn't mean I don't know anything. It means I don't know that.
Well, thank you for your concern for the Harwell family. It's obviously pretty sad that the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota has not even bothered to understand who she is. You haven't mentioned her in her testimony, but you certainly know who Renee Good and Alex Preddy are.
I do.
Yeah, so obviously your priorities are clearly obvious. Tell me about Temple Israel. What happened there?